Welcome back, Chaos Crew. I am your host, Jamie, and this week we're talking about some things that came up with my clients. And the reason I want to chat with you all about this is oftentimes when I'm seeing similar themes with the women I'm working with, it means you at home are probably struggling with it too. So grab your coffee, snuggle up, get cozy. We are going to have some more caffeinated convos. So I always wonder, I wonder what people imagine it's like when you join a nutrition coaching program, because I have a feeling so many people think we sit there and we just talk about food, or I just give you a diet plan, or I just tell you what to eat. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I wish that solving all of our issues with food and our relationship with food and our body and our weight, I wish it just boiled down to the foods that we eat. Unfortunately, it is not that simple. And it's in my opinion, you guys have probably heard me say this before. The mindset piece of things is one of the biggest things that is missing on this journey. I so badly wish I had a dual license and had also gone to school to be a therapist. I do not, and I'm really big about staying in my scope of practice, which is why if you need a therapist, check out findabariatrictherapist.com. I have the info in the show notes because honestly, the therapy side of things goes so hand in hand with the nutrition and mindset side of things. But in my programs, we do touch on the general mindset work and we chat through a lot of what leads to the food decisions and habits, because that is so important. If it was as simple as just eat this thing and that's that, none of us would struggle. There's so many drivers to struggles with food and obesity. And obviously there's a lot of, there's hormonal and genetic and all the other things. But for today's conversation, a lot of the things that came up on our calls this week just really hit me right in the feels and really hit my clients right in the feels. And just so much truth came out in these calls this week. I don't know what's going on with the universe and the stars, but a lot of it just I just feel compelled to share with you. So number one, I wanted to chat with you. I was speaking with one of my one-on-one clients this week. I love her with my whole heart. She is incredible and she is doing so well. And she's so committed to getting back to where she was and feeling good in her body. And she has struggled with significant regain. She's regained pretty much all of what she lost, which honestly, I see that a lot. So if you're that person too, just know that you're not alone. I'm so proud of her because she keeps showing up. She keeps doing the work. She's invested a lot of time and energy to work together and kind of get to the root of all of this. She is also working with a therapist as well. But one of the things that keeps coming up for her is this on again, off again. And as soon as she feels like she has failed, it's like the all or nothing just comes right back in. And it's right back in that, well, I already effed up, might as well eat all the things or, wait till tomorrow to start or wait till next week to start is essentially what's happening. And when I talk to her, I know she knows what to do. And the things we're working on nutrition wise really include putting food on a plate, focusing on protein, focusing on fiber, focusing on balance and meal timing. And we have a whole customized routine for her based on her preferences. We're focusing really hard on not demonizing food and not cutting foods out and just finding that balance. But one of the things that came up in our conversations was, do you believe you deserve this? Do you believe you deserve to lose the regain? And do you believe that you deserve to be successful and proud? And we went pretty deep talking about this because she's like, honestly, no. She's like, there's a part of her that is punishing herself so badly for regaining because she feels like she ruined this. And she said, she's like, I didn't realize how good I had it when I was at my then lowest weight, because even at that time, I still felt like I had so much further to go. And she's like, it never was enough. And I still felt like I wasn't doing good enough. She's like, I wish I could go back to that version of me and say no, girl, you did it. You did a lot. It's okay. You can enjoy this. And she wishes she had savored that more. All right, Chaos Crew, you already know how much I talk about being a new mom and juggling not only that aspect of my life, but my post-op health and life after surgery. And I honestly can't even tell you how many times Hungry Root has saved me in this season of life. They are the most incredible grocery delivery service where I know that when I use their groceries, I'm getting really healthy, high protein, easy to use ingredients sent right to my door. And honestly, now that Oliver is eating real food now too, it's just they've grown so much with me and my family. I started using them when I was just 1 month postpartum and has absolutely been a game changer. Whether I am using the ingredients they send me from scratch to create one of their amazing meals with one of their recipes, or I'm just grabbing one of their ready made options, I always have something for dinner ready to go for me and my family. And for right now, they are offering Coffee and Chaos listeners 40% off your first order when you use the code CHAOS at checkout. So don't forget, you can head to the link in the show notes. You can grab your first grocery order, which, like, hello, 40% off of groceries. Amazing. Make sure you go and do that. Use the link, use the code so they know that I sent you. And one of the things we talked about is whether you're at your lowest or your highest doesn't matter. If you don't believe you deserve to be where you are, you're not going to stay or get there. And it was a really big, in my opinion, breakthrough for her because she finally recognized that a lot of this self sabotage was really coming from this inner belief of, I don't deserve to have these wins. I don't deserve to celebrate these wins because I ruined this beautiful opportunity. So now that she knows that, she will be taking that back to her therapist. But it made me think, I wonder how many other people, how many of you at home listening to this also feel like maybe there's somewhere along the line you don't deserve it. I've heard this from other people in different capacities too, especially some of the women thinking of joining my programs who also feel like maybe they don't deserve to invest in themselves. They don't deserve to give themselves the time and commitment because there's something within them that they feel is not worthy or deserving. So, one of the big ways we combat this, again, I always recommend you take this back to your therapist, but really working on the affirmations, we're really working on, and in my tribe membership program and in all of my programs, really, we talk about this, like the science behind affirmations and the rewiring of the neurotransmitters in your brain to start to think different thoughts. And I have therapists in that program to support you with that too. But you have to start talking back to that and telling yourself you deserve it. Because if you just tell yourself day in and day out, you're a failure, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve success, you're never going to get there, it's going to be real hard to stop self sabotaging. And on a similar note, I was also talking to one of my other clients who's in my Bariatric Breakthrough Group program. We were talking about very similar things. And we are actually in the first week of our program right now, where we've talked specifically about mindset, because before I even help you touch your nutrition routine, we work on the mindset piece. And we're talking about affirmations and doing them and ones that ring true. And she said, she's like, whenever I do affirmations, I feel like such a phony. She's like, I feel like it's so stupid because I don't believe it. And that's the whole point. You got to start saying it before you believe it. It's okay if you got to fake it till you make it a bit, because I always tell my clients, if affirmations or journaling or any of that mindset work feels weird or impostery at first, it usually means you're doing it right because it's uncomfy. It's going to be uncomfy at first because, especially when you're so used to telling yourself mean things, telling yourself nice and encouraging things can be really, really hard. But I was asking her specifically, I'm like, well, for your reasons for being here, what do you want to achieve? What outcomes are you looking for? And pretty much everyone in this program is struggling with some regain in some capacity. But one of the things that she said, and I have it written down because I want to make sure I don't misspeak. I am not even exaggerating a little bit when I say I have literally tried every single protein powder out there since I had my surgery 8 years ago. And for the first time, I am actually being super consistent with drinking my protein shake every single morning. And that's because First Form has been a game changer for me. It is the first protein powder that I actually enjoy drinking every day. I personally love their caramel latte level 1 flavor protein powder. It is incredible. It tastes so good. It is smooth, creamy, and only has the highest quality ingredients. It is not made with any fillers. It is just an epic product specifically for bariatric patients, and it's been a total game changer for me. And you guys know that this podcast is called Profit and Chaos for a reason. I'm always grabbing my Profit and running out the door, and First Form makes it possible for me to still live this chaotic life and hit my needs. So make sure you check out the links below, that you check out all of First Form's products. Again, level 1 is my favorite. Also in the show notes below, you can get my favorite Profit recipe using First Form. But for her, it's along the ideas of she's never doing enough, which is very similar to the idea of I don't deserve this. They kind of go hand in hand. But she was saying, I feel like it's never enough and what I accomplish is never enough and I'm never doing enough. And she's like, I always feel like no matter how much weight I lose, I'm never losing enough weight. So we went through some affirmations, and a lot of the times the affirmations, will be like, I will, I believe, I am type statements. And you want to do affirmations in the present tense because it helps you embody that belief. But one of the other types of affirmations that has been really helpful for me and my clients is the idea of safety. So, one of the affirmations that I said to her and kind of stopped her in her tracks, and that we as a group then really talked about, is the affirmation, "It is safe for me to stop losing weight." And when I said that, she stopped. And she's like, that one hit really deep. Again, take it back to your therapist. But I encouraged her to lean into that and figure out why. There's something when we are often anxious or overwhelmed or overthinking things, it's out of this need for us to feel safe and secure because especially when you're anxious, it's like a perceived threat. So when you're overthinking your weight or like always worried about it, it doesn't feel safe to not do that. So one of the affirmations that has really helped me personally on this journey is reminding myself that I am safe or safe to be, insert whatever. But for her, it is safe for me to stop losing weight because there's something so scary to her about letting go of the hyperfixation on the scale and her weight. And I don't know if that rings true to you at home, but I would ask you, what would it look like for you if you didn't have to worry about your weight every day? What would you do with that time? What would you gain back in return? And what does it say about you, or what does it mean for you if you're not the girl who's always losing weight? Some of you might even want to, pause this and go back and write it down and maybe journal on some of that because it'll be interesting what comes up because it's scary to think about. And I talked about this on the live recording episode because we talked about it in person that day with someone had asked a similar question. But when I first was trying to figure out who I was outside of my weight loss journey, I did not know. I didn't know who I was if my mission in life wasn't to lose weight. And that can make you feel like it's just never enough. That's why when you finally hit, if you hit the goal weight you had, which goal weights are a whole other conversation of whether or not those are even helpful. But if you hit your goal weight, yeah, you might feel really good in the moment or for that day or maybe even that week. But that is fleeting. It's why, yes, losing weight has brought me a lot of happiness in a lot of ways because I can do more with my life and it's brought me lots of opportunities and I feel better in so many ways, but it didn't magically just solve everything. So it's why you can lose all the weight and still go, that wasn't it. That wasn't what was making me miserable. That's not why I don't feel enough because the truth is, and if you're that person who keeps moving the goalpost, I want you to really listen. So if you're that person that says, when I lose 10 more pounds, I'll be happy. When I lose 10 more pounds, I'll be at my goal and then I can be done. When I lose 10 more pounds, this magical thing will happen. And then you get to those next 10 pounds and you go, well, 5 more, 5 more, 5 more. And you never let yourself celebrate where you already got. I really want you to listen to me when I say, I would really, really reflect on that because you can keep moving that goalpost and you're never going to get to a magical number where, ta-da, you are happy. I will say this is exactly what my tribe membership specifically was designed for. If you are that person who struggles with these types of mindset struggles, if you struggle with the self-sabotage, if you struggle with never feeling enough, if you struggle with all or nothing mentality, you keep pushing yourself harder and harder no matter what. The tribe membership, where I have support groups every week and we have our tribe leaders, including therapists and other professionals, helping you through this, I gotta say, that's where you need to be before you start to tweak your diet yet again. Because there's a good chance it's not the nutrition. We love to blame it on the food, but it's something else. And again, that's why I feel like this is so needed and so missing in our journey. So that was a really deep and hard but meaningful conversation that came up in the group program this week because until you believe it is safe for you to stop losing weight, you're just going to keep pushing yourself. And this is also why I really believe it's so important to enjoy the process, not just the destination. Because if you feel like your happiness lies in that goal being hit, but you're not enjoying the day in and day out of getting there, not only is it going to be hard to stay there and maintenance is going to be hell, but two, it, it it's not going to just magically make you happy. That's why it's so important that your habits need to not just help you lose the weight, but feel good about it while you're doing it. It's why it's so important to embrace being happy and trying to be confident and being fulfilled regardless of the number. One of the biggest things I talk to my clients about is the fact that surgery, as much as it is physical, is also super mental and emotional. We can have our stomachs removed, bypassed, whatever, but we cannot bypass or remove the parts of our head that need work. And this is why I am constantly referring people to find a bariatric therapist. This is an incredible, incredible platform created by my friend and colleague, Ashlyn Douglas Barnes. She is a licensed bariatric therapist. She had weight loss surgery herself. And it is so incredible what she has put together. It is a free directory. It costs you literally nothing. And you can find licensed bariatric specific therapists licensed in your state. So make sure you check it out. As a dietitian, I help you with the food, but we always need to be incorporating the interdisciplinary team so that you get the well rounded support you need. Check it out below and let us know your thoughts. And I've shared about this before when I talked about my journey at the beginning of this season, but when I was at my heaviest, when I was in high school and in college and just really struggling, I couldn't see that. And I was nowhere at the point of recognizing that. And for me, that came later in this journey of after actually losing the weight and finally recognizing the weight was never the problem, like the main problem. I like to blame that. I like to make that the problem, but I had other issues I wasn't dealing with. So those things are just so, so important. And one of the other things that came up this week on my calls was the idea of the pressure to get back on track. Get back on track, get back on track, get back on track. And again, I use that term a lot on social media, similar to how I use the term like bariatric friendly, not because they're like the best usage of those words, but because we all kind of universally know what it means. But sometimes getting back on track is so daunting and so exhausting because sometimes you just don't feel like it. And what I can tell you is if you feel that way every time you have to get back on track, instead, I want you to look at why you have to keep getting back and what's making you fall off. And what does that mean? My goal for my clients and all of my programs is to make the tweaks to their routine so sustainable that they don't realize that it's not so strenuous that it's impacting other areas of their life. So like I'll give you an example. One of my one-on-one clients a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago now, she was one of the first clients I really took when I started my business. And we had been working together a handful of weeks going through like my process to building meals. I hadn't coined the term bariatric breakthrough method yet, but it was essentially what we were doing and adding foods back in and being mindful. And she had lost 3 pounds of her regain. And she came to me and she was so excited. She's like, Jamie, I lost 3 pounds. I'm like, oh my God, congratulations. That's amazing. You've been working so hard. She's like, I'm so confused though. I feel like I haven't done anything. And I kind of like stopped for a second because we've been working together maybe like 6 weeks. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, I just feel like I haven't made like that many changes. It wasn't that she hadn't made that many changes. It's that the changes she made were so conducive to her lifestyle and so doable for her that she could be consistent with it without white knuckling it, that it wasn't super hard. Yeah, she had to be consistent. Yeah, she had to show up and try, but it wasn't so strenuous. And that's one of the things that came up in this conversation with my clients this week about the getting back on track. Is a lot of the clients that I work with, a lot of people after surgery feel like if it's not a little bit painful, if it's not like super hard, it's therefore not enough. And kind of back to the idea of like not deserving. If I'm not being super strict and this isn't like hard and strenuous that I have to like grit and bear it, I'm clearly not doing enough. And if I'm not doing enough, then again, I'm a failure. I suck, all or nothing. So you can see how this all ties in and just kind of perpetuates and spirals. So I wanted to share these things with you all because it just keeps coming up in my conversations. And if you're not addressing these issues, no amount of changes to your diet is going to, quote, fix what you're dealing with, whether that's regain, hitting your goal initially, whatever else with, your nutrition, food, whatever, because we have surgery on our stomachs, not our heads. And this component of the journey is so important. And I think I'm such an advocate for focusing on this aspect of things because one, I've worked with so many people and I know how important it is, but I've done it myself. One of the things I can say I am most proud of since starting my journey is creating the support for others that I never had. I remember thinking, oh my God, I am a dietitian and I am struggling on this journey with not just what to do, but how to do it to be successful and actually live my life, which is why I created my Tribe membership back in 2020. It is the most incredible resource that I offer and the best starting point if you're looking for more support or some of my more nutrition services. It's an acronym and it stands for the Real Insights of Bariatric Eating, and it has so much support in there, not just from myself, but from other credentialed experts. We have therapists, we have a doctor of physical therapy, we have a nurse. We have so many people in there to support you along the way. So if you are interested in more nutrition support and more support in hitting your goals on your journey, that is a great place to start. You can check out the link below and use the code CHAOSCREW20 for 20% off your first month. And there's no minimum commitment. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. But I will say you probably won't want to because we do some epic things in there. I wish I had started doing like journaling and mindset work, not just therapy. I was in therapy, but I wish I had done some of these deeper like mindset things and like reflections earlier in my journey, because I actually didn't start doing this type of work until I started my business. And when I started my business, I talk about this on the Patreon because I have more like businessy things on there. Which again, if you join the Patreon, it's $10. You get bonus content, behind the scenes, extra episodes. But I started working with a business coach in 2020, about a year into owning the Sleep Dietitian. And she was the one who made me start doing mindset work. She's like, with business, very similar to nutrition, there's a lot of mindset that goes into it. And same with business and entrepreneurship. If you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to be able to do it. It's all goes back to your mindset stuff. So she's the one who got me into really journaling. She's the one who got me into doing affirmations and gratitudes and deep reflections. And eventually I started working with a mindset coach. Her name's Jen Diaz. She's amazing. She actually specializes in like helping women entrepreneurs, but she was recommended by my business coach. And I ended up going on like a business retreat with them, and it was really life-changing. But Jen's mindset work, the deep level mindset work, yeah, I initially started to help with like mindset around being a female entrepreneur, but the way it related and targeted every other limiting belief in my life, especially as someone who struggles with her weight, we did a lot of like inner child work. We did a lot of shadow work, some heavy, icky stuff there. But it was also, full disclaimer, if you're going to find a mindset coach versus a therapist, just be well aware they are two different things. Mindset coaches do not provide therapy. It is not the same thing. And there's different credentials for mindset coaches. Not anyone can just be a mindset coach. They still need to have trainings and things. But anyways, I digress. My point is, I didn't start doing that till much later, at least 3-4 years after I had my weight loss surgery. And I wish I had done it sooner. So wherever you are in your journey, I really encourage you to start looking inward a bit more. Maybe you start by journaling. Maybe you start by doing some affirmations. Maybe you start by doing some meditations. Maybe you just start by reflecting on the questions that I've thrown out here today. It all counts. And if you want more structured support with this, don't forget to check out my Tribe membership. This is exactly the program. Out of all the programs I run, this is the program that helps you do this type of work. And again, we have actual therapists leading many of these support groups. So if you want more details, make sure you check them out below. I also have tons of free resources there. We have my free Facebook group. I already mentioned we have the Patreon, which is $10 a month, that has some extra things in there too. Make sure you're on my mailing list so that you don't miss an episode and you get any of my other materials that I sent out for resources and support. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope that this gave you some things to think about and reflect on. And until next time, I will see you next week. See you later, Chaos Crew.